As some of you will know, I gave a talk last weekend at the inaugural Shieldings conference entitled Finding Authenticity in a World of Abstractions. My friend, the erudite and shrewd academic agent, said he felt moved by the talk, which is now available on my channel. Do click in the top right corner to see that. However, he posited what we might call the Daria problem, the Faustian Man problem. He claims that his state of mind is like that of the Faustian Man from Spengler, unable to detach himself from the mental trappings of the postmodern mindset, and more than a little cynical of this thing I call authenticity. If you would like to watch his video to understand in a bit more detail where he is coming from, then I encourage you to follow the link in the show notes. In his examples of where he expects to find authenticity, AA provides the example of nature. He was out with his family, walking in the Welsh countryside. "Look," he says, "I should be marvelling at the greenery and the world around me. I should be looking at this stream or waterfall with awe. Surely I should find this authentic." After all, Mark makes the claim that authentic equals physical, does he not? On the surface, this would seem to be the case. I lay out the case for authenticity as being physical, real, and genuine. That is not to say that authenticity is to be derived from the material. It is instead derived from our relationships to real things in the real world. Real people, not through the medium of the internet. Real physical activity, as distinct from the imaginings of the mind or escapism in video games. Real conversations, as opposed to small talk. And real surroundings, as opposed to living in a fantasy land. In all of these examples, and indeed many more I have not mentioned, the authentic experience is not derived inherently from the thing itself, but from your relationship to it. And as we do not get on with every person we meet, so too do we have varying levels of connection with any of these things. Part of the hunt for authentic living is the seeking out of these quality connections above and beyond the chaff. To AA, the natural world may hold little appeal. He is an ideas man, keen to read and keen to write and to verbalise what an amalgam of reading has done for his own thinking. That's why he has a YouTube channel. At the event, he mentioned in passing that he has a great deal of books, physical books, mind, rather than e-books, and that he was considering acquiring a little trolley to have as a kind of reading in progress stack for research purposes. This is a little bit of authentic living in itself. To have physical copies of literature which, given they are well cared for, will outlive himself, be hopefully of interest to his children, provide avenues for thought that are more satisfying to the soul than an immaterial online collection, curated and controlled by someone else and accessed through a subscription service. In 2010, the BBC ran a television series named The Big Silence. In it, 5 people were taught by Benedictine monks about silent meditation in the hopes that they would make it part of their everyday lives. The first part introduced the whole cast of characters, including a CEO, London housewife, and a Scottish labourer. The second part has the subject squirreled away to learn meditation at the retreat centre run by the monks. The third part sees all 5 back in civilization sometime after the retreat and ascertains whether the lessons taught stuck. All of the participants went through different journeys. The London housewife was fully engaged in the idea and wanted to learn peace of mind more than anything else. She struggled with the other members of the group wanting to slip away for a takeaway and whispering like naughty schoolchildren behind the back of the building away from the mentors. She even wore a cardboard sign one morning saying, "Sorry if I don't look up or nod, I'm being silent." This was swiftly corrected by the staff, who informed her that her attitude needed to reflect the peace she sought, rather than constantly fighting a battle and fearing slipping up. The CEO has a different journey. He's very sceptical, bored, and troublesome. He's the one who wants to have the takeaway. He wants to get back to his company. He has other things to do. He worries about his wife, his work, his parents, his children, his yacht. The Scotsman doesn't get on particularly well with the much more middle-class and affluent members of the group. Initially loud, quite brash, and he supports the idea of escape. None of them, it should be noted, break the rules beyond planning their escape, however. After a few days, something rather profound happens. Stripped of the demands of modernity, after all the worries and pains and excuses have run out, after all of the conversation opportunity to brag or complain or merely discuss has been ripped away, all of the members of the group find a kind of peace. They stop talking and start considering. All of the abstractions of modernity take second place to thinking about what is actually important in their lives. Once the retreat is over, all of the members state that they would like to continue finding a small amount of silence in their busy day-to-day lives. The housewife struggles with this, but learns to delegate more to her husband so that she isn't so overwhelmed that she cannot find her silence. The CEO has stepped down his involvement in his company and claims to feel more content with his work-life balance. The Scotsman has found his silence watching a busy main road while he does the laundry in the evening and has a cigarette. Just 5 minutes, he says, but it's enough. His girlfriend notes his behaviours have become a lot less erratic, more thoughtful, and he's less prone to aggression. This, while sitting on a noisy washing machine and watching a busy main road. I mention this because it wasn't the setting of the retreat centre that was the source of authenticity for these people. It wasn't the grass, or the trees, or even the company. It wasn't the silence in and of itself. It was that they had this relationship to all of the physical things in their world, and they had to evaluate them on that trip, prioritise, and recognise them. The academic agent, if you are watching, I put it to you that you are looking in the wrong place for your authenticity. I'm not going to suggest you take a vow of silence for 2 weeks and go to some retreat with no modernity around. But I would suggest that much like the housewife and the big silence, you are looking intently for the meaning that you seek by looking at the physical thing rather than the thing that matters. You went for a walk with your wife, daughter, and father. There is authenticity to be derived from this. The authenticity to be derived from nature is, if you find authenticity there, in the idea that this is a walk you enjoy going on. Perhaps you have a favourite stream or grove. Perhaps it is something completely novel and you're enjoying its novelty. Outside of nature, perhaps it's the chance to connect with your father, to have a good conversation with him, to find out what's going on in his life, or to marvel at Mrs. AA as she looks out for AAA. These are real relationships. A relationship to a particular place or to particular people. More generally, for people who are struggling with this aspect of my talk, who feel that they view everything that others enjoy with cynicism, and without really understanding what they are witnessing personally, even if they want to have it for themselves, I would encourage you to view things from this perspective. We are all unique in our tastes, abilities, and networks. Your search for authenticity is to find what inspires you. If that is in the literary works of a nation, then it is there, or a particular writer. If it is in the boxing ring, exploiting a weakness in your opponent, it may be there. If it is in conversation with a similarly deep thinker, it is there. If it is in a business venture with goals and good people, it is there. I could go on and on and on. In my talk, I lay out why it is so important that the basket weavers do not have a prescribed set of activities, but instead aspire to embody values that we share in whatever activity they do. If authenticity were in the beauty of a waterfall alone, or in any conversation, no matter how trite, then everyone would have found it. It is your mission, should you choose to accept it, to build layers of authentic relationships into your reality. To lay this at the feet of the concept of the Faustian Man is a bit of a cope, I'm afraid, and a cop-out in my estimation. To the man who is looking for water in the desert, and claims that there is no water in the whole world when he cannot find it there, I would say you're not looking in the right place. That's just a few thoughts of mine on this whole thing. I do hope that AA sees this, but for anyone else who is struggling with this thing, I would really encourage you to lay out your critique, your criticism, like your problems with this sort of thing. Like, we are here just generally in the world. Like, we're here to help. Members of this community are here because they want to help. At least I hope so. Otherwise, I would really not be wasting my energy if I didn't believe that was the case. So yeah, leave a comment down below. Do like the video, and if this helped you, then please let me know as well, because I know that this was something that a lot of people seem to struggle with. All right, catch you next time. Take care and good night.